Hey everyone, welcome to our weekly live, How to Harness the Hidden Potential of Your Intuition for Business Growth. I'm so excited to talk about this topic of intuition. I think that it is something that is underrated and an overlooked skill that people don't really consider in terms of their life and business success. And a lot of successful business leaders, owners, entrepreneurs, creatives credit a large part of their success to being able to trust their intuition. So today we're going to explore what intuition is, why it's important in business, and how you can develop and use your intuition more skillfully. So welcome. Feel free to type a 1 in the comments, A, if you can hear me and you can see me okay. And feel free to say hello, type your name in the comments. I'd love to say hello to you personally. If you're meeting me for the first time, my name is Kadidja Yansani, and I work with coaches and service-based entrepreneurs inside of my year-long Business Queen Academy, where I help you create, launch, and sell your high-ticket soul signature program. So before we dive in, why don't we just take a few moments just to take a few breaths? This is actually a tool that will actually help you. My necklace is falling off. That will actually help you connect to your intuition. As we'll be talking about throughout this class today, is that sometimes when you're too noisy, it's hard to hear how you're being guided. So we're just going to take 3 nice deep breaths together. Even if you're watching this on the replay, please just take a few moments to connect to yourself, connect to your intuition. So I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. We're going to take 3 nice deep breaths together, and you're going to exhale as though you're exhaling through a straw. Inhaling now, and exhale through a straw. And again, inhale, and exhale through a straw. You can even do like a slight wiggle on the exhale, inhaling again, and exhale through a straw. Good, and just taking a moment to notice any sounds around you. Noticing any sensations in your body. Allowing yourself to arrive into this now present moment. Remembering that all your answers are right here in this now moment. Taking another nice deep breath. And exhale through a straw. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes. Welcome, viewers. If you could say hello in the comments, I would love this, so I can say hello to you personally. And if you're watching the replay, feel free to say a replay. So again, today we're talking about harnessing the hidden potential of your intuition. Your intuition is one of your trusted business advisors that you might be neglecting. And so one of the biggest challenges that I see, not only with coaches, but service-based entrepreneurs, is that of making a decisions. We have so many decisions to make in our business, in your business. It could be like, do I want to be in this niche or that niche? Should I name my program this or that? Should I work with this coach or that coach? Should I start this program now or later? Like, we should just call you a decision maker, because that is what you are doing when you, hello, user from Northern California. It didn't say your name because I'm using StreamYard. So if you want to put your name in the comments, feel free to do that. So the list goes on and on about all the decisions that we make in our business. It could be around colors. It could be around fonts. It could be around, what platform to use, which social media platform. I mean, the decisions and choices are endless. And being a leader in your business requires that you know how to make decisions and that you become more adept at making decisions one after the other, because that is what we're going to continue to do throughout the life cycle of being in business. And I absolutely wholeheartedly believe that the quality of our life and our business has a lot to do with the choices and the decisions that we make on a regular basis. So the better you are at having your yes be your yes and your no be your no, then you're going to be incredibly aligned with your business and create something that is values driven. So type a one in the comments if that's what you want, to follow your intuition and feel like your choices that you make in your business are aligned with who you are. So we're going to start with the basics. It's just like, what is intuition? And so oftentimes intuition is described as like a gut feeling, like I feel that in my gut. Some people call it a sixth sense, and then it guides you to make decisions that aren't necessarily based in logic or rational thinking. And so you may have heard me share this, that, my father is a retired professor. He's in his 80s now. But growing up with my brother and I, he would always be talking about the scientific method. Like he has a very scientific mind, and everything was, we have to, utilize the scientific step-by-step method, and it's ration and logic over intuition and sensing. I think they are both important. So this conversation isn't about minimizing logic in any way, but sometimes we have a sense of something and we have no logical reasoning or rational reasoning why we should take this course of action. And so a lot of people describe your intuition as pulling from like your subconscious process. Maybe it pulls from past experiences, knowledge that you've acquired, emotions that you're feeling that make you say yes to something and no to something else. So type a one in the comments. Thank you for the one if you can relate. And I often say that we've all had experiences in our lives where we couldn't explain why we should do something or say yes to something, but we just knew that we are supposed to. So thanks for the ones. And so I'm remembering a time I had just ended a relationship. I'm from California and I was living in California at the time. And at that moment, I decided that I wanted to move to the East Coast. And I was really young. I was in my mid-20s and I did not have a job. I didn't really, maybe I had like one friend. So I had one friend in Maryland and one friend that I could think of in New York. And a lot of the advice that I was getting was that you should not move or relocate without a secure job. And I should also say that I didn't have much savings. But I did it. Like, I just felt like, no, it's time. And I didn't listen to anybody. And I went, and it was an incredible experience for me. And I do tend to have that type of personality of leap and the net will appear. I'm not saying that that's better than those of, some of you are more, you want that security before taking a leap. That's okay too. I have found in my experience that when I have taken leaps, like the net has never not appeared. So of course I found a job, I made new friends, and I worked with a coach, and that just kind of put me on the trajectory to becoming a coach, because a few years later I went through a coaching program myself. And so I know everyone on this call, put a yes in the comments if you've had like a time where you knew that job was yours, you knew that you were meant to be with that person, you knew you were supposed to, you didn't know why you went that way, but you went that way, and you ended up having a conversation with someone and you don't know why, but it unfolded. So I'd love for you to just think about a time. And one of the things you want to do is, like, as you become more aware of all those instances when you trust your intuition, you follow through on your intuition, and you have a result, like, that is now giving you proof that, oh, I can trust myself more. Because a lot about entrepreneurship is learning to trust yourself, trust your ideas, believe in your ideas, and being willing to put them out there. So I'm just going to grab a quick sip of water. So I know those of you who are watching also have multiple situations that you can reference where you've trusted your intuition. And so next up is like, why is intuition in specifically in business important? So as a coach, I'm a coach. I work with a lot of coaches, but also, some people who don't call themselves coach, but they are service-based entrepreneurs, meaning that they're healers, guides, doulas. You grow your business by acquiring clients, and intuition is a critical skill that you might be aware that you're using. Some of you are very conscious that you're using your intuition, and some of you might not be. So it's really like the thing is you want to become more aware that you're using it. And so as coaches, like one of our core skills is intuition, because we receive information from so many channels. It's not just what your client is verbally speaking. It's not just their body language. It's all of these hosts of information that we get from clients that says, hey, maybe I want to ask them this question. Maybe I should touch them here. Maybe this service, product, tool, or resource would be helpful. So as practitioners, as coaches, intuition is something that in a way makes our work so unique, because we're all picking up on different information. Someone here says yes. If you could say your name, because I would love to acknowledge you. So yes, I left my stressful job last October, big move, but the best decision I made for myself. So awesome. And congratulations on doing that. And I want to say something about this, that sometimes just because we follow our intuition, it doesn't mean, hi, Cynthia, welcome. Just because we follow our intuition doesn't mean that it means that the path is going to be clear, right? Like sometimes our intuition has us take a leap and we can only see what's ahead. Like you might not know what's next. Sometimes our intuition has us step outside of our comfort zone. But part of the dance too is learning, just because we're afraid doesn't mean that our intuition is off. Like sometimes there's a growth that needs to happen. And so I'm glad that you found that it was the best decision for yourself. Someone else says, yes, I agree. Awesome. So sometimes your intuition might be telling you to do something that might feel even crazy to you. And it definitely might feel crazy to the people that are around you. And part of what you can do if you feel nervous and trusting your intuition is to begin listening to it with small things, right? And then as you build that, you just know that it's going to work out. Another reason why it's really important to follow our intuition in business, like I was saying earlier, is that there's so many decisions that we face in our business all the time, whether it's around your messaging, whether it's around branding. So type of one, if sometimes it feels like you're just overwhelmed with all the different choices that you can make. I hear that a lot. And part of what our intuition requires is that we create some type of stillness so we can hear which direction to move in. And I often find that most people, even under the busyness of overwhelm, the fog of overwhelm, the fog of confusion, like, I don't know. Like there's often like a little voice that's been telling you to do a particular thing. So maybe it's like, you've been out of touch with your email list for a while and your intuition's been saying like, I want to send out regular newsletters. I should show up live, or I've had this thing, this little idea of starting a podcast. I've been thinking about getting up to speak. And so that right there is you're being given advice. And sometimes I find that people aren't listening, either because they don't trust it, or maybe they're afraid, or sometimes there's like, you don't actually know how to follow through or implement the idea you've been given, but that's when you would get help or support. And so right now, today, on Monday, April 17th, there's something that your intuition has been guiding you to do around your business. And one of the things that I love so much about I guess I'll call it like self-care movement or self-care movements where we talk lovingly to ourselves and you say like, what is it that you need, honey? What do you need to feel well? What do you need to thrive? Like this is a relationship that you can develop with your business. So like there's this intuitive relationship you have with your business where you're being guided to take action. And so, what action or actions have your intuition been guiding you to? And so, it's not enough just to know. Of course, that's the first step. But the quicker you are at taking action on that, the quicker you're going to see momentum and traction in your business. And so sometimes your intuition is just like, you know what? I've been thinking about a specific person. Maybe it's a former client. Maybe it's someone that you had a discovery call and you want to follow up with them, and oftentimes these things will go unnoticed. And so type a one in the comments if you feel like your intuition's been guiding you in some capacity. And you're also welcome to share, like, how good are you at following through on those intuitive nudges that you get in on your business? This isn't about judgment, right? Because sometimes some of you might find like, God, I've been being told that I should do this and I haven't been doing it. So again, it's just about deciding that you're going to start anew, pick a date, and you're going to start following through on that. I want to talk about two things, right? Like, I just want to give you a few examples of how this can show up. So, oftentimes, pricing is a big thing, whether you already have a price or whether you're new and trying to pick out a price for a package or what to charge for your event, for your retreat, for a workshop. And then what happens is that you can be looking around, seeing what other people are doing, and you think, okay, well, they're charging this much. This is how much I should charge. I have actually done that. I've done that a few times. And so I'll just first tell you what happened, and then I'll tell you how intuitive pricing can support you. So I saw someone offering this much, and I actually worked with that person, and they were saying that I should charge that much. And it was outside, like I liked the number and that number felt attractive to me, but it was outside of where I was financially at that particular moment. And so I did make an offer for that and it did not land well, which is okay, right? And I had to come back and be like, okay, like, was that really my number? Did that really resonate with me? And then I came back and I realized a different amount was the amount that felt right. And I went out and put it back into the marketplace, and like 7 people signed up. So even if, and this happens a lot too as a coach, where I can see that someone's undercharging, but maybe they're not ready for that next number yet. The easiest way to look at it is kind of, and I don't lift weights at all, but this is a great analogy. It's just like, okay, if you don't lift weights at all, I can't imagine that a personal trainer is going to have you start with like 50-pound weights. You're going to incrementally grow because you're going to expand your capacity. Your muscle strength is going to get stronger, and then you're going to be able to lift more over time. And I think we can do the same thing with pricing. The beauty about having your own business is that your pricing can change every month or more than that if you like. So when you're thinking about your pricing, there's this balance between challenging yourself, right? Stretching. There's a number that you want, and you might not feel ready for that number yet, but your intuition is saying like, it's $9.97, it's $14.95. And so think about like, okay, this is what I think this is worth, or the value of this program. Perhaps this is what the market is asking, or other people in the market. And then like you want to run that through your own filter of intuition to be like, okay, at this point, I'm ready to charge this. And like there's also like that stretch goal, that stretch number. So type a one in the comments if that makes sense, because we're never stuck in our pricing. We can always come back, change, and shift. Just like I gave you in that example, I made an offer, it didn't sell. I reworked the pricing and it did. Awesome. Thanks for the ones in the comments. Another one is, so I invest in programs. I'm imagining that you're here, like, I'm committed to my personal growth. I love learning. I'm always learning. And there have been a few, where I invested in things where I was more interested in the strategy, but I didn't love necessarily the delivery of the program or the person that was teaching. And this has nothing to do with if what they were doing was valuable or not. It was. People were getting success in it. And I was more focused on the result than the whole experience. And I just felt disengaged from the process. And then two things I learned from that, because I feel like I always learn from any program that I'm a part of, is that people are choosing to work with you not just because of your service and your transformation. That is a part of it, but they're also choosing to work with you. They're seeing you as their guide and you as their teacher. And there's something in the way that you communicate and coach that supports them in their transformation. And so, how are you using your intuition when you're choosing what to invest in, who to work with? Like, there's a few things that you want to consider, which we'll be talking about shortly. But your intuition might be nudging you like, oh, I feel like this is a strategy that I want to add to my business. I feel like this is going to help me grow by leaps and bounds. Again, sometimes following through on your intuition does not mean that there won't be fear present, because sometimes fear and excitement can feel similarly in the body. Some of you may have heard me share that I used to be terrified of public speaking. While there was a desire to public speak, I was also terrified. And it just would, like, sometimes I wouldn't sleep well, and I was always able to deliver and present, but it did a lot to me internally. And then over time, like, I changed that narrative that it was making me nervous and scared, and noticed that I was actually, like, I can connect to the excitement of speaking to people. I'm bringing up that example is that sometimes you want to be able to discern, like, is that fear that I'm feeling? And there's a healthy level of fear. Sometimes that fear is a warning sign, meaning, no, don't go further. And sometimes there's a healthy fear of, like, uh-oh, I'm doing something new that I haven't done before. That might be intimidating. That's a little scary. And there's a learning curve, because anytime we're doing something new, there can be that fear. So type a 1 in the comments if that makes sense. So I wanted to share some tools with you on how you can begin to develop and use your intuition more effectively, and recognize that it's a skill that you can hone over time. So number 1 is we want to use our body, like, tune into our body. Like, how do we feel when we're thinking about this topic or we're talking to this person? Are you feeling tight? Is your mouth feeling dry? And this is also why you want to begin to study your responses to things, because then you'll be able to uncover those nuances. Is that sensation, is that butterfly sensation fear, or is it nerves, right? So tuning into our body, how does your body feel at the thought of doing this activity? Is it a nervous sensation, or is it like, no, it's telling you no, it's shutting down? So you definitely can have a journal on your side with this and beginning to take notes, like, as you have conversations with people, as you do things. So, like, in my public speaking example, I realized that, like, I love speaking. I love to teach. A lot of people that come to me love to speak and teach. And so learning to harness that energy, I realized that that was a healthy fear and something that I could work through and expand my capacity around. Number 2 is you want to take time to just, practice mindfulness. Um, Oftentimes there's so many things happening. We talked about there's so many decisions we have to make in our business. And so sometimes you're probably in this position, both as a client, as a coach, where someone comes to you and they're like, I have this, I don't know what to do. And it's just like monkey mind swimming, right? It's really hard to listen and hear your intuition when you're at that speed and your monkey mind is all over the place. This is often why people recommend either like a morning practice or a spiritual practice, whether it's meditating, journaling. I know a lot of you are into nature, being out, like something that quiets your mind down, that really allows you to hear. And then you just kind of intuit and feel the next step, or like, oh, I'm going to reach out to this person. I'm ready to schedule, put a date on the calendar for this event. So it might seem really simple, but it's like if you're moving at that speed and bogged down and overwhelm and fear and trying to force a decision, the right decision can't possibly come to you. So what's your practice to slow down, to quiet your mind? I know I get a lot of inspiration in the shower or in the bath sometimes, right? Because like we're soothing, calming your nervous system, and your bright ideas are able to come through. This is also about learning to trust yourself, getting really good at, I'm going to say yes to this, I'm going to say no to this. When we're in the perpetual I don't know phase, it's not an empowering place to be. That being said, sometimes it takes as much time as it takes to come to a decision, but part of the practice is learning to like say, I'm going to pass on that for now, even if you need to think about it for a while. But oftentimes your intuition knows that you're a yes or a no to this. And the sooner and quicker you are at saying yes and no to what's right and aligned for you, the more impact you're going to make in your business, the more you're going to enjoy your life, and that you can get to the work of doing what you love so much. And then we also want to validate our intuition, right? So like someone was just telling me, I feel like it was recently, they were saying that they had a hunch not to drive someplace, and they're glad that they didn't because there ended up being like a storm. They didn't know why, but they decided that they weren't going to go. And so that is a place to document like, oh, okay, I was going to drive to this location and something told me not to go. So basically you would document like, okay, what happened? Why did I decide I didn't want to go? What happened as a result? And so that way, this makes it so that your intuition isn't just this like woo-woo thing that you can't document. For those of you that need that, because some of you don't feel like you need to document, but it's incredibly valuable to validate your intuition, because you're going to strengthen it. You're like, oh, okay, I thought that wasn't the right thing for me to do. And turns out this other thing unfolded. So how are you going to validate your intuition? It could be like you keeping notes, like maybe you have a special intuition journal where you document like, I was thinking I would do this in my business. I did it, and these were the results. And so the more you trust yourself, that's like, I would say that's such a huge thing. Like a lot of times people come into business, we like want to express ourselves. We want, a lot of my people say they value freedom, but this process also is learning to trust yourself and trust your ideas more and more, which is so incredible. So you also want to look for evidence that supports your intuition. And so if you're around people, whether it's a coach, whether it's colleagues, or accountants, I didn't mean to say accountability buddies, I said accountants, accountability buddies that support you in validating, trusting yourself. I can't tell you enough how I feel like this is a really key piece that I see often in my Business Queen Academy working with clients, is because sometimes you're asking a coach questions. Yes, you might not know a strategy and there's something that you need to learn, but I would say that a strong coach, a strong healer, like they're constantly referring you back to your own knowing, to your own intuition, and that like, hey, I am a wise person. I have a lot of information. It is safe to trust myself. And when you show up as a person that trusts yourself, other people trust in you and they trust in your business. So I want to review what we talked about today. And If anything's standing out for you, I would love to hear in the comments. So we talked about what is your intuition. Maybe you feel it, and we all experience and feeling it differently. Maybe you feel it like it's your gut. You might feel it as your sixth sense, um, your inner knowing guiding you to say yes, to say no, to follow a certain action, like beginning to trust that inner guide more and more. We talked about it's important for business because as a business leader, you're a decision maker. Every week you're making decisions. Today you're making decisions. You made a decision to show up to this live or not to show up to this live. It doesn't necessarily have to be for a bad reason. Maybe you thought there was going to be something here for you. So again, the question that I asked you was like, well, what has your intuition been guiding you to do in your business? And once you know that answer, maybe you journal on the answer, you're actually going to take the next step and follow through. So give yourself a date. By this date, I'm going to follow through on what this says. And it feels incredible to follow through and to show up for yourself the way that you said that you would. We also talked about how you can use it more effectively by listening to your body, practicing mindfulness. So if there's a tool, a resource, a practice that you have on a regular basis to quiet the mind so that those intuitive nudges can easily come through and you're not really distracted by the monkey mind. We talked about trusting yourself more and more. So it's like, I often hear like, I've been thinking about doing this with a lot of uncertainty versus, you know what? I'm going to follow through on that. There's a reason why that thing keeps coming up. It's because there's either some income over there, there's clients over there, there's some expression over there, there's some meaning over there, there's someone that you're supposed to meet over there. And so if you don't follow through, you're kind of blocking the whole path. So your job is to listen, get better at listening, take action, and to document and celebrate the outcome. So that's what I have for you for today on harnessing the power of intuition. I'd love to hear your takeaways or what was stirred up for you in this class today. And if you haven't already downloaded my ultimate guide to client creation, I want to invite you to do that. It's an amazing guide where we cover the 4 pillars of client creation. We cover marketing. We look at how you're going to monetize these skills of yours, the ingredients of manifesting. And there's a particular thing that people often leave outside of their manifesting practices. And of course, like, how are you going to, what I have, nurture your queen's mindset, which is what I call it, in this guide. So the link is in the comments. It's manifestclientsnow.com/guide. And so until next time, I'm just quickly seeing any comments here. Have a great day. And it's Monday. So ask yourself, spend some time with yourself and tune into how you're being guided. What's the next move in your business? All right, everyone. Someone says this was very informative. Thank you. My first time here. We're welcome. If you could put your name in the comments, because it just says Facebook user. I use a third-party app called StreamYard, so it doesn't always show your name. So I'm glad that you found this informative. Our intuition is always talking to us. And the more that we can be quiet, we can listen and hear how it's being instructed, like even just with your community and your clients. So thanks again, Cynthia. Glad that you stopped by. And I'll see you guys next week, Monday at noon Pacific Standard Time. All right, bye.